Well, hey, you guys. We are now open. And let me tell you, today we're going to go selling on the seven seas. That's why I have my little outfit on. And guess who came to join us? Oh my God, he's so excited. He's so excited. It is Chester. He is here, honey. And he got on his a SpongeBob costume because he wants to live in a pineapple under the sea. So he decided to join us and dress up in his cute little costume with his little sunglasses. Cause baby, we about to go sailing. We going sailing. So today's episode, I think I named it Sherlock Holmes is making people faint like Michael Jackson, because that's what he was doing. Um, so let's get into the story. I'm gonna say it now because I'm gonna forget by the time I get done telling this story. I almost forget. Or sorry, we gotta let them know we're open. And this is my little Sailor Moon. I'm sailing on the seven seas. Scott, do I look like I'm ready to get on a boat, a yacht? I'm ready to get on a yacht. Not this month because it's cold, but like when it warms up, I'm ready. I got my yacht outfit. So anyway, so. The name of this tale, what I named it, is Sherlock is making people faint like Michael Jackson, but the actual name of it is The Adventure of the Gloria Scott. Scott, have you ever listened to it? Scott's here, by the way, y'all. We're all here. We're all going to go on this case. But really, it's not a case. We're going to listen to Sherlock tell us about this case. This is one of the first. Scott, have you ever heard of this case?
I haven't.
Do you know what the Gloria Scott is?
I'm guessing it's not me.
No, it's not. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be working on this cute little puzzle called I Love You to the Moon and Back. And look, it's super cute. It's super cute. Look at it. One of the pieces is a little heart. It's going to be for Valentine's Day. Oh, so cute. So anyway, that's going to be my arts and crafts. Make sure you get yours. Oh, and I forgot. Like, share, and subscribe because I'm going to forget later. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. So, Gloria Scott. We're going to get started with the story. Here we go. So, Sherlock and Watson are chilling. This, I think, is like before Watson got married. We never know if Watson's married, if he's not married. Like, what the hell is Watson doing? We don't know. But they're chilling. They're hanging out. They're doing what they do. And Sherlock is like, Watson, did I ever tell you why I decided to become a detective? And Watson's like, no, I just always thought that, I always thought to ask you, but I never really did that. And so Sherlock is like, oh, it's because, this letter, this slip of paper that I like, he was like, read this slip of paper. I'm not going to tell you what it says until I'll tell you what it says. So he's like, read this slip of paper. He was like, this message right here shook a man to his core. He was shooketh. He was shooketh. This little slip of paper with this little message on here, honey, that makes no sense. Shooketh a judge to his core. Okay, period. So Watson like, this thing don't even make no sense. How is this shaking people? And Sherlock is like, I'm gonna tell y'all. Because don't forget, we're like the Scooby-Doo detective agency. It's a gang of us. And a stagecoach that we're going to call the Mystery Machine. So anyway, Holmes is like, I was in college at a time. I was a college boy, I was doing the college thing. And he was like, I was majoring in chemistry because I'm really good at chemistry. Like, I'm the bomb over there in the chemistry area. Sorry, Chester's over here wanting to put his costume back on. Anyway, so he was like, I was, studying chemistry, doing my due diligence. And he was like, I had one friend and his name was Victor Trevor. And so he was like, I don't really make no friends. And, I'm a busy man with my own thing. But, I met Victor. He was cool, and so we became friends. He was like, but it wasn't because I was out there doing anything or trying to meet friends. Because, I'm very introverted. I do not have time for the foolishness. Okay, I have time for school, not the foolishness. He said, but what happened was, one day I was walking and Victor had this dog, and the dog was just pretty much humping my leg. I don't know if he really meant humping my leg, but he said the dog was accosting his leg. So I'm assuming it was humping his leg. I don't know if they had, I don't know, Humane Society, if they were neutering and spading cats and dogs. I don't know if Bob Barker was there telling him to do it on, Price is Right. But honey, the dog was accosting Holmes. They became, he invited Victor onto the room. Victor kept coming back every day, so he assumed Victor was his friend. So here comes summer break from college. They get some time off to do their thing. And, Victor was like, you ain't really got no friends. Or friends or family, except for Mycroft. But who's trying to go to Diogenes Club? Scott, you trying to go to the Diogenes Club? Wherever you talk 3 times, you got to go.
No.
So, you said what?
Not even me.
And Scott don't talk much. I'm the talk. If you can tell, I'm a talker. So he was like, why don't you come on home with me? You my bestie. Come on. And so Holmes was like, cool, let's go. So Holmes said, he went on with Victor to the house. And what he instantly saw was opulence, honey. Victor had some shmoney. He had some shmoney, honey. And so he was like, oh, this nice. You living real nice. Oh, nice. That's what Sherlock was saying. And so, he met Victor's daddy. We're just going to call him Mr. Trevor. I think Mr. Trevor. So he met Mr. Trevor and he was like, I guess Victor was bragging on Sherlock Holmes, like, skills. He was like, this dude noticed everything. He's super smart. Like he be noticing stuff that you ain't even noticed or thought to notice. So his daddy, like, Mr. Trevor, like, whatever. Show me, honey. Call me. Is it Missouri, the show me state?
It is.
I'm Missouri. I'm the show me state. Show me, baby. Show me that you got some investigating, attention to detail skills, honey. I'm a whole judge, honey. I'm a whole judge. Started off in gold mines in Australia. I'm a judge and a landowner. So show me, baby. Show me. So Sherlock, started telling him a little thing about himself. And I'm going to read you a little bit of it. He was like, yeah, I noticed that, you went to, New Zealand and, you've been here, there. So here's what it says. Anything else? He asked, smiling. You have boxed a good deal in your youth. Right again. How did you know it? Is my nose knocked a little out of the straight? No, said I. It is your ears. They have a peculiar flattening and thickening with boxing. So blah, blah, blah. He makes all these observations and he's right. And so, Mr. Trevor, like, quite true. And so here we go, right here. And you have been most intimately associated with someone whose initials were J.A. and whom you afterwards were eager to entirely forget. Mr. Trevor stood slowly up, fixed his large blue eyes upon me with a strange, wild stare, and then pitched forward with his face among the nutshells which strewed the cloth in a dead faint. Honey, he didn't pass out. He didn't hit the floor when Sherlock Holmes said, yeah, you got a tattoo with J.A. on there that looks like you tried to bleach it off, sir. Yeah. Somebody who you knew intimately that you want to forget. And that made that man say, ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Scott, what would make a man faint talking about his tattoos? Let me see your tattoos. Maybe I can make you faint. Have you ever had a tattoo? Somebody telling you about your tattoos made you want to faint?
No.
Me either. So, the man is, fainted. So the son, Victor and Sherlock go over there like, come back to us. They didn't slap him. I don't think they did. They said they sprinkled some water on his face. They was like, come. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord, honey, like the exorcist, like, get up. And so finally, Mr. Trevor comes to it. He's like, oh, honey, it don't take much for my heart to flutter and make me pass out. He looks at Holmes and he's like, man, you good. You real good. He was like, but you so good. I'm wondering, like, how much do you know about these little initials I got tatted on me? Like, how much do you really know? Like, what? How did you get there? So Sherlock Holmes tells him, like, I'm looking at the tattoo, and you could tell you trying to scrape it off, and it's in like a intimate part of your body that I can see. So I just deduced. Like, why are you making this a big deal? And so the man was like, you know what? You're good at what you do. You should think about it, considering it professionally. And this is where Holmes said he really did consider, like, this was the first consideration. He was like, oh, I guess this isn't just a hobby. I can make this into a job. And so, here come Mr. Trevor explaining it away, talking about, there was a girl, her name was, Janice Anderson, whatever, just fill in a blank with a name. And that's what made me faint. It was love. Which Holmes was like, girl, I'm not buying that, but whatever. Okay, what? I'm at your house. I'm a guest. I'm gonna act like what you saying is like super, super serial, even though everybody know you're not. So Holmes said basically after that, because he stayed for a couple of days because this is summer break. So he said after that, every time he encountered Mr. Trevor, the man was always looking like, you saw me scratch my head. What you deduce from that? Like, the man was just on edge the whole time. So Sherlock, like, I do not have time for this man to be acting all paranoid. Like, he doing too much. I don't want this man to be uncomfortable in his house and I'm a whole guest. So what he decided to do is this. He was like, look, I could be doing chemistry. I could be dressing up and being an actor. I could be starting this new business called Sherlock Holmes 2221B Baker Street. Could be starting me a business. But what I will not do is sit here watching your daddy be all nervous and anxious because I done made him pass out like I'm Michael Jackson coming up on stage in the 1980s. Remember that, Scott, when Michael Jackson would come on stage and he would just stand there, he'd be like, boom, boom. And people would be like, oh my God, Michael Jackson. Remember?
Yeah.
People were like being carried out, like the crowd would have to surf them on to the medics. It was crazy. Sherlock Holmes got that magic too. For Mr. Trevor, though. So anyway, so Sherlock said the night before he was getting ready to leave, here come on Trevor Daddy's, door, the knock, the infamous knock. Who do you think was there, Scott?
J.A.
Good guess, but that's not who it was. Who do you think it was out there in TV land? Okay. No, it was Hudson. Yeah, Hudson. So Mr. Trevor's like, Hudson pops in, and they say Hudson's just a beat up, weathered, messy looking man. He's just old, he haggard, he tired, he run down. He likes some shoes that somebody didn't wear for like 20 years. He's just a rundown. He's haggard. He's just, honey, he's here. He's barely hanging out. And so Mr. Trevor's like, oh my God, Hudson. Hey, who? What you doing here? And Hudson's like, oh, look at you living in the lap of luxury while I'm over here barely eating. Hey, my friend, what's up? What's up? Scott, what's up? So Mr. Trevor was like, you know what? I'm sorry you ain't been eating. Go in the kitchen. You can have whatever. I'm going to be in there with you in a second. And Mr. Trevor goes into his little study or whatever, grabs him a thing of brandy, chugs it down, and then goes in there with Hudson. And they have a discussion. And Sherlock is sitting there like, let me tell you something. Okay? I am leaving absolutely first thing in the morning because I ain't got time for this. Your daddy got weird friends. He fainting. He just doing too much. Okay? I'm super duper smart. I need to be doing chemistry or start my new business. Whatever. So, they go into, but they hear a thud. They go into the daddy's study, and why the daddy laid up drunk, just passed out. He was not having a good time. Sherlock didn't introduce himself that he shouldn't have introduced stuff in that house, clearly. So Sherlock leaves the next day. He goes on about his way. And he goes back and he does his chemistry and he really contemplates like, man, maybe I should be a detective. I'm real good. The people keep telling me I'm real good. I mean, clearly he did it because we're here. So, you know, here comes a letter in the mail from Victor. And he's like, hey, could you please hurry up and come back down here? Because I cannot figure something out and I absolutely need your expertise. That's how you know this man. Not only did he make this man daddy faint and left, he also was requested to come back. You know you good. Even though he was making the daddy nervous. So Sherlock Holmes gets there and Victor's like, this has been like ridiculous. Like, this has been hell. He was like, you know Hudson? Do you know who he is? Scott, do you know who Hudson is?
No, I don't know.
Victor said he the devil. He said ever since that man got there, nothing has been good. He said basically that man came in there. His daddy gave him a job as a gardener, which is I feel like that's a good job. It's a good job for sellers. Get your land legs. So, you know, he was like, you know, he started him off as gardening, but Hudson said that was not a good enough job for him. So Hudson said, I want to be butler now. And so the daddy made him butler. And so, you know, he became butler. And that's when Victor said all hell broke loose because this man was harassing the maids. He was harassing the other staff there to where the daddy had to pay him more. Mr. Trevor had to pay him more. This man was drinking up all the liquor, not replacing it. He was being demanding. He was talking to people any old kind of way. And you know, Victor said if that man had been younger, he would have got with him. He would have took him outside in the back and busted him upside the head a couple of times to show him, hey, you don't get to do this here. But he didn't. But he said the final day was one day he got to talking to the daddy real crazy. And Victor was like, why don't you leave? Why don't you get the stepping, sir? He pulled him Martin, gets the stepping. Why don't you get out of here? And so Hudson like, you don't get to talk to me like that. Hey, Mr. Trevor, get over here. Tell him he don't get to talk to me like that. And so Mr. Trevor was like, why don't you go ahead and apologize? Scott, what do you think about that?
Something's weird. Just holding something over him.
So,
something about Jay had a suspect.
Look, made the man pass out, honey. You know what I'm saying about Watson wasn't there with his brandy, but I guess he didn't need it because the daddy took himself right onto that back room and went in, honey, because they say he was passed out. But anyway, so, you know, some more weeks passed, and finally, Hudson's like, girl, I'm tired. I'm bored. I feel like you ain't treating me right. You done ran out of liquor, to which I'm not replacing. It's whack over here. And what I'm about to do is take my little self on over to our other shipmate's house, because they're supposed to be shipped, like when they were all in the Navy together or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go to the other shipmate house, Biddos, and get some good treatment over there, because you don't know how to treat nobody. So Mr. Trevor was like, well, how was your time here? I hope everything was well, please. Oh my God. And, you know, Hudson like, well, you could get your little raggedy son to apologize to me. And the son went further in. He was like, I ain't apologizing to you. You a loser, blah, blah, blah. Like, he just went in, and Hudson huffed away and left. And so, you know, life goes on, but the daddy, you know, Victor said his daddy was on edge the whole time. Well, all of a sudden, here come a letter. Here come a letter, child. Oh, and wait, I actually want to, wait, let me get to it. Here comes the letter. Okay, wait, I did not I did not mark it, but we gonna get to this letter. Cause honey, when this man read that letter though. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I am not prepared. Okay, here it is. Here go the second time Michael Jackson popped up for him. Okay, in a most extraordinary fashion, a letter arrived from my father yesterday evening bearing the Fordingham postmark. My father read it, clapped both of his hands to his head, and began running around the room in little circles like a man who has been driven out of his senses. When I at last drew him down to the sofa, his mouth and eyelids were all puckered on one side, and I saw that he had had a stroke. Okay, this man read that little slip of paper letter and started running around the room, girl. What do you think that letter says, Scott?
I don't know.
Well, it made the man have a whole stroke. So Holmes was like, oh, dude, like, what is really going on with your dad? I'm glad I left and did my chemistry. Y'all wilding out. He didn't say that. He was concerned. So he was like, let's go over there. But the dude, I'm sorry, not the dude. Victor was like, by the time we get there, he probably gone. He didn't went into a coma. He ain't came back out of it. So, but I need you to come here because I need to figure out what this letter says. And so, by the time they got home, all the shades were down in the house. And Victor, knew what that meant. He knew that meant that his father had passed away. And so he goes in there and he's like, when did he go? And the doctor was like, right after you left, he went. He slid off into it. And he was like, did he ever come back too? And the doctor was like, yeah, he did. And he just said, the check in my study cabinet. And so Holmes is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, this is crazy. And Victor's like, let's not worry about that now. Let me bring you the letter. And you read it and see if you can decipher what it says. So, Scott, I'm about to read it to you. And you tell me if you can decipher what it says. He said, well, and Trevor had not read it yet. He was like, I can't read it. He was like, I'm gonna go get that letter. I'm gonna have you read the letter that's in my daddy's study cabinet. I can't, I'm grieving. I'm going through it. This is all new to me. So he sat down opposite to me, drew the lamp to the edge of the table, and handed me a short note scribbled, as you see, upon a single sheet of gray paper. The supply of game for London is going steadily up, it ran. Head keeper Hudson, we believe, has been now told to receive all orders for flypaper and for preservation of your hen pheasant's life. That's what the slip of paper said.
Okay.
What you think that means, Scott? Why do you think that made him have a stroke?
I don't know. I'd have to I don't know. I'd have to read it.
You want me to read it again? The supply game for London is going steadily up. Head keeper Hudson, we believe, has been now told to receive all orders for flypaper and for preservation of your hen pheasant's life. Maybe the cat can discern it. Chester?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know.
Well, so Sherlock Holmes at first, he was like, this don't even make sense. Like, what is this? And this is why, Victor, like, this is why I called you, sir. You supposed to be knowing stuff. You made my daddy faint that one time. You supposed to know. So Sherlock Holmes sitting there looking over and over and over and going through every possible puzzle piece he can, period puzzle. And finally he figures it out. If you go every third word, which I tried this the first time, is not every third word. The first word is the first word. Then it's 3 words after that. when you go for every third word, this is what it reveals. Scott, are you ready for the reveal out there? Are you ready for the reveal?
Right.
The game is up. Hudson has told all. Fly for your life. Fly, Robin, fly.
Mm.
Hudson again. The devil. So he's like, Victor's like, oh, this bad. Even though, sir, your daddy gone now, okay? Like, you can't bring him back because he didn't crack the code. He didn't crack the Da Vinci Code on this shamble of a note. So he's like, oh my God, it's really bad. Holmes, I can't read what my daddy left me. Here, you read it. And so he had Sherlock read the letter. And what we come to find out is this. Are you ready, Scott? Are you ready? Who's ready? Because I'm ready. I'm ready to tell it. I'm ready to spill it.
Right.
Okay. So Victor's daddy ain't who he said he was. Okay. Victor's daddy used to be a banker when he was younger. But guess what Victor daddy decided to do at the bank? He stole some money, honey. It's always about the sticky fingers of the money. He was stealing money, to which the bank called him. Now, let me tell you, Victor's daddy in the note was doing too much, talking about, I planned on paying it back. Sir, if you planned on paying it back, then you shouldn't have took it. But whatever. That's another fish. That's some other fish to fry. So he was like, he was taking the money. The bank caught him. That's a federal crime. I think it was a federal crime back then too. And so what they did was they went on and put him on a prisoner ship. And they were going to ship him on because, this is the UK. So remember, I don't know if you know the history of Australia, but it used to be a prisoner colony. That's where they would ship their prisoners. So they put him right on a prisoner ship, right on to Australia. They was like, peace out. Peace out, sir. Stealing money, talking about you gonna pay it back. Pay it back in Australia, catching kangaroos or whatever. And so, he was on a prisoner ship and he floating. Well, on this prisoner ship was this one very high profile criminal who stole like 250,000 pounds, which is a lot in the 1800s. This man name is Jake Pendergast. And this happened to be Mr. Trevor's neighbor on the ship. I don't know what the ship looked like. I don't think it was a cruise ship. So he happened to be the neighbor. So Mr. Jake was like, hey, I got more money than you got hairs on your head. Like, that's what it actually stands in there. I was like, yes. Yes, honey. He said, I got more money than you have hairs on your head. And do you know what I'm doing with my money? He was like, because you saw my case. They never got the money back. What do you think I did with my money? And so Mr. Trevor, like, I don't know. He was like, it's between my finger and my thumb. This is exactly what this man said. So he was like, I've been using the money to pay off these guards so I can go ahead and he was like, I'm too rich to be on this boat. I've been paying off the guards and all these people to bring me weapons because we are about to go ahead and break off of the prison boat. Okay? Because I'm too rich for this. Okay? So he was like, either you in or you out. If you out, we gonna end you. We gonna end you. And so, of course, naturally, Mr. Trevor was like, I'm in. What's up? What you need me to do? And so, he was roped in. Come to find out, the minister is in on it. He ain't even a real minister. This man getting off on the porch and bringing them weapons and stuff. The guards are in on it. Jake was saying, hey, I got so much money, I almost bought the captain, but he got morals. I said, okay. So also, Mr. Trevor made friends with the other neighbor, because, I guess he was in between too, Mr. Evans. He just called him Evans. So he was friends with him too. And Evans was a pretty smart guy. They're both educated, so they got along well, where the other people were not. So he was like, the day that D-Day, we'll call it D-Day. D-Day came quicker than what we thought because one of the prisoners got sick. And so the medic, I guess they had like a doctor on the boat. The medic found the weapons and was like, y'all trying to stay, y'all trying to take this boat over. And so the medic went to go tell the captain and they said, nope. This thing happening right now. Let's go. Viva la revolution. And so they went to, attacking, it's a prison boat. So they have guards and stuff. So the guards that weren't in on it, they was beating them down, acting a fool. People were getting heads cut off left, right, and center. People were going like, unalive, left, right, and center. And so finally the prisoners won, which I mean, it was kind of inevitable. But there were a few of the prison guards still left and a couple of the crew left. And so, Jake was like, we got to end them, baby. I'm Machiavellian. I am very Machiavellian. I don't believe in leaving no witnesses. So we're going to have to end them in cold blood. I don't care if they didn't want to fight. They got this fight today. And so Mr. Trevor and Evans were like, no. We didn't sign up for the. We did not sign up for taking innocent people's lives. Like, we were down for fighting for our freedom, but baby, we're not taking the innocent. So, Jake actually had a conscience for these people. I guess he must have really liked them, because he was like, okay, what we're gonna do is this. Let's just make a deal. We all prisoners here. We're all thieves, and there's no honesty amongst. And if you tell on you just gonna get sent right on in. They may not find me. So he was like, this is what I'll do. I'm gonna put y'all on a little dinghy, life raft thingy, and y'all head out this. Here is your story. Say y'all some shipwrecked sailors of this boat, blah, blah, blah. I did the research. I got money. If somebody saves you, and we'll call it even seasons. Here's some money. He gave them some money and put them on a dinghy, a little boat, and pushed them off. Was like, peace, bye, have fun. And so they went a rowing. They looked for some land. They said they was gonna go to Africa, and so they started rowing. But all of a sudden, there was some big old mushroom cloud, and then this loud boom. And so they looked over, and the Gloria Scott, that's why it's named Gloria Scott, because that was the name of the prison ship boat. The Gloria Scott didn't went under. She didn't went kabloom. So these people having a conscience were like, oh my God, let's go see if there are any survivors. Let's go help them. We can fish them out. And so they go back to fish the people out, and they said they didn't see anybody. Oh, but wait, they did find somebody. Hudson. Oh. He was one of the prison guards. So they pull him on a boat, and they, they take them to land. They all divvy up, what little money they got, and they go off and find their fortunes. And basically, Mr. Trevor says, hey, I went on and I went gold mining. I made some money there. I got my education, became a judge. I reformed my whole life because I did not want to go back to prison, and I wanted to atone for, what I did. But he was like, you can imagine my surprise when all this time later, it's been like 40, 50 years, here come Hudson. And Hudson talking about telling. And he talking about finding other dude and telling on him too. He was like, please forgive me, son. Peace out. So in the end, what ends up happening is this. Now, Hudson went on to go visit Evans, whose new name is Butters, and also Mr. Trevor. He changed his name too. His name was, I forgot to put it down. J.A. It was James Armitage. That was his original name. That's why he passed out. He was like, how does man know? How Sherlock Holmes know? Oh, Lord. How he know about that? What you know? So his name previously was James Armitage. That's where that J.A. came from. He changed it. He moved on with his life. So what they think happened is this, because no one ever heard anymore from Evans Beddoes, which was his new name, or Hudson. So the police think that, Hudson ended up ending Mr. Evans and taking the money. But Sherlock was like, I think it's reverse. He always think it's reverse. He was like, remember with the brother who was kidnapped, and the sister, the man with the plaster face.
Yeah.
Remember, he was like, they were like, oh, we think the men ended the sister, and Sherlock was no, I think the sister ended the men's. Well, here Sherlock got the same deduction. He thinks that Evans, with that little threat that Hudson was making, ended up taking him out and running off with what money he had left, and just was like, baby, we're gonna live out these days in incognito, in obscurity, in infamy. That's how that story ended. What'd you think, Scott? What'd you think, viewers?
Well, yeah. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Well, what lessons did you learn, Scott? What did you learn from that? What did you learn out there?
I don't know what lessons I learned.
You didn't learn anything?
Story.
You didn't learn anything? Sometimes karma. Mr. Trevor got karma. So you was killing people, and yes, you were formed, but clearly karma didn't feel like she was repaid enough. Also, the truth is a light, and the truth will set you free, it said in the Bible. Tell the truth, because it's gonna come out. Them skeletons gonna fall out the closet, and his skeletons fell all the way out, honey. Okay? Had them drinking, had them fainting, and all kinds of foolishness. So with that, that's all I got. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow, because we're doing a, video a day for me to show you love. And yeah, once I finish this puzzle, I will put it on a short so you can see how pretty it is. And yeah, I think that's all I have. Do you have anything, Scott?
I don't have anything.
Okay, I already said like, share, subscribe. And I think with that, y'all get one more glimpse of my sailor outfit, my Sailor Moon outfit. I would bring back Chester, but ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, guys, with that, we are closed. I'll see you guys later, from wherever I am to wherever you are. Peace, love, and happiness.